Hello. Just taking a look at one of these little areas that I'm aware of. This is a really old, I won't say really old, but I've noticed it like this many times. There's been sticks laid up. The other day there was some kind of circle in there made out of wood my friend showed me. Nothing there today, but just taking a little journey out here, and I did notice some new construction here. It's kind of worth noting. For one, these are kind of placed up like this, that one there, that included, but that wasn't the exciting part. Even though there's more broken stuff in here, this stuff leaned across, that across it. But it was this bridge of sorts right here, made out of all the snapped trees. That kind of piqued my interest. Looked for some footprints down at the water. Didn't see anything. Doesn't mean there wasn't anything to see. Didn't notice that. Look at this triangle though. I'm not gonna dwell on the footprints if I don't see them, but I mean, you know, they're running around somewhere, so you gotta wonder where they are. That's kind of actually just wedged in there, so that was probably snapped by them. Snapped by somebody, I should say. But it's cool how it makes that triangle shape. Even if you watch this guy Brian Bland talking about the glyphs, and you'll notice within documentation of anyone else who puts, you know, the glyph factor out there, me included, that you might see things like this even as part of the overall message. And I'm getting to the point that there's more than one maybe shape or letter that they're doing, or they're more complex than we might first give them credit for. So anyway, back to the bridge. Pretty cool. Sandy, you know, you're not going to get perfect prints in that, not enough water involved. That was just the ideal situation when I found those prints recently. Very fortunate to come across that when I did, with the lake drying up. But it's that time of year, you know, where you could find prints. I'm not saying there's anything there, but I'm just saying if you get the right conditions, you might find something cool. But I know they're walking around here, but I just wanted to document this guy. It makes perfect sense for there to be logs going across as a bridge, even though there's a bridge right there. But I mean, then you put them across and it's like, oh, wait a minute, you couldn't walk on that, you might slip, you know? So looks like their work. Coming at you from the other side of the lake here, from where I just found that structure over that little shallow creek. Some of this is new. This used to be here, this Y right here, but the interesting thing is they've put another Y type of branch underneath here and propped it up. Crook of the tree, kind of lean, with an interesting split at the bottom, if you'll notice. Almost like a mock Y, or another Y. I like that shape a lot right there. That's very cool. I'm sure they did too. Symmetry, the balance of it. But this is also new. This one is actually supported by the X that's made here. It's broken, starting there, coming up, going across, and it's wedged in there. So that you have the X there, and this coming down and around, suspended. But also new placement in the tree here. Only saw one set of shoe prints coming in here, so hasn't been used a lot. The path kind of goes around and you got to go out of your way to come in here. But I just, found it exploring. There's a little structure-esque thing here. I think I've filmed it before. Nothing major. But this is a really cool place. All these, see that stripped to that tree up to there. That's about 12. So yeah, that 12-foot bark removal. All these with the bark removed off of all of them. Very distinct looking from the other trees in the area, you'll notice. That placement, there was a potential glyph right here. I can see the stick. They often do this where they break it, but they don't break it 100%. They just leave it connected like that. And so I'm wondering if maybe this, and that make up the glyph, if not with this and this. Isn't it so interesting just to consider here, all of this, sticks fall, but it looks like maybe even they cleared off all the sticks and then started placing them, because there's really not that many sticks around, and all the ones are like snapped pieces, like freshly snapped, all of them, So like this one's underneath the grass, so he's been here like a long time. You can but these are all on top of the grass. This large one, I mean, it's amazing. I'm going to get back and give you a perspective on what could be the entire glyph and what message that could be sending. I mean, it's truly fascinating to even imagine interpreting. But yet it may be possible to some, to the trained eye, or it's just a personal interpretation based on the emotion and feeling that it gives you, which is actually an aspect of the Sasquatch and of the woo, and this aspect of Sasquatch which is really humanism, which is a part of you that you want to deny. But that gentle, sensitive, quiet, in tune, non-violent, understanding, peaceful, existent with everything harmoniously, that part of you that may or may not be muted at the moment is accessible, regardless of whether you want to use it all of the time or use it passively or whenever you do, A lot of times I'm fighting with my words and fighting the information war, but it's not necessarily how I am in person. But I can get riled up when somebody is doing the wrong thing, I tell you what, but it's hard to ignore it in the world. So that's why we go to the forest and just get away from people and get away from it all, because you need that one-on-one time to say, ooh, this is where the good times are in the forest. This is where the relaxation, if you've ever been to the country, I grew up in the country, and it's so much better than the city, because you can just sit there and listen to the breeze and watch the clouds go by. But you can go do that in a park here in Denver, but you've got everybody around you making racket, and it's just not like getting out here. But isn't this some good footage just of this structure and how they've built it up and created it? I really like this area for some reason. This is like really good feeling here. I don't know. That Y was the only thing that was here when I was here last, maybe a year ago. But they're definitely building here, and that's nice to see. I find this to be very interesting right now. I was just considering everything I just said. I looked down right when I paused the video, and there's a quarter sitting tails up like an eagle there facing me, and I'm like, oh nice. There's a little gift, I don't ask for anything to make these videos, This is the kind of payment that I received that I'm thankful for, you know what I mean? And then, of course, I flip it over. 1981, year of my birth, name of my channel, 81. So it was just further confirmation. Just like I said, it's that self-confirmation. It doesn't matter. Anybody else was out here found this, it wouldn't have meant what it means to me. And that's how things work.